Because literally in corporate world, it's a few seconds of someone asking a question about someone or somebody's team or the value someone's bringing. And if that executive has a positive comment that's directly applicable to their own experience with you or your team, it shuts the conversation down and it moves past and beyond.
Yeah.
And away you go. If it doesn't, then it just leaves a big question mark that's out there as to not sure what value is really there.
That's true. That's really good. I have to write this down because this is, so something you mentioned a minute ago was around, we've talked a little bit, let me phrase it. We've talked a little bit about work and hard work and your ability to get things done by yourself. What's your approach to looking for mentors in your career? Have you had mentors throughout your career, and how do you go about finding them?
That's probably something that if I could go back to the beginning and tell my 22-year-old self to do something different, that would be one that I would do differently. Because I think I've missed out on the opportunity to take advantage of and to learn from mentors, not for a lack of having people there that would have been more than willing and certainly that I had some interaction with, but I think I could have done a much better job in finding those individuals, creating a relationship that was such of a mentor relationship to curate over time, because I don't have that. I think I have a number of people who I can pick up the phone that I haven't talked to in a very long time, and we'll pick up right where we left off and we can have great deep conversations. But I think I missed out on that opportunity to have a small group of individuals who could really help coach and mentor me along. I think I've missed that.
I like that you are introspective looking backwards. If you were to build yourself, like, let's call it the board of directors for Scott Wilson early in career, what would you build that board to look like?
Early on, I would have, looking back, it would have been amazing to have someone who was 10, 15, 20 years into their career and had a bigger picture, and I could have learned from on how to even build a career. I don't think I had the ability even to think about a career. I had a job. I had a job at WordPerfect that I loved, and I'm incredibly loyal, but that doesn't always serve you well from a career perspective. It can, but I would have loved to have had someone who could have said, listen, if you're trying to build a career, and if the purpose of your career is X, Y, and Z, if it's financial, if it's skills, if it's whatever the purpose is, if you're going to really try to build a career, then there's some insights, meaning some value in staying with the same company forever isn't necessarily the right strategy. It might be, but there's other things out there that the opportunity to move to a different company or to a completely different part of a company, to do something different, to do something that stretches you. Those were the kinds of things that I just hunkered down, got work done, enjoyed what I was doing. And I think I probably missed some opportunities for growth early on. And it would have been wonderful to be able to have a mentor that could have seen where I was at and what I was doing and had a perspective of what else was out there that I may want to look at, that I think I probably didn't come up. And it's interesting because when WordPerfect kind of went the way of the world, there was a whole group of some really talented people that then proceeded to go out and do some really amazing things. And I don't think I had the same vision and forethought or direction that some of them did. And I think a mentor could have probably helped curate some of that. So I would have loved to have someone career-wise that way. And I think someone more focused around helping me to financially learn what I didn't even know I didn't know, right? About how do you build wealth? How do you take a great paying job? Because that's been my path. I've always had an entrepreneurial bent. I've started a couple dozen companies over time. And so there's been an entrepreneurial piece, but my whole career's been working for a big company, getting paid well. But I don't think I probably have made the most out of that and would have loved to have someone to help mentor me through some of that.
Yeah, there's a skill to it, I guess, right? I mean, I'm not there, I don't know, but I'm assuming that there's a skill to being able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with all those things. No one teaches that in college, and there are certain things you can figure out. But
right,
yeah.
Right. But and again, I think where the real value of a mentor comes in is to ask questions that the mentee doesn't even know to ask, right? And
yes,
and to cause me, in this case, to think of new things, to think of things differently, to think about why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? I mean, why am I in this career? Why do I have a job at all? What is it I'm trying to get out of that? And if there comes a point realizing that if that doesn't serve you well to your end state, your end goal, what you're trying to accomplish, then you have the ability to move on and go do something else. I think I was so afraid or so unsure of my value in a marketplace to go get a different job that I remained in those first few roles kind of stuck, I was doing okay, doing fine, but I didn't raise my head and look around and say, hey, could I be doing something different, something bigger? Where's the industry going? Where's the market going? I was so dead set that I worked for WordPerfect and we hated Microsoft. I was never going to work for Microsoft, right? And I should have went straight to work for Microsoft when I came out of WordPerfect, right? All sorts of things would have been different, but you get stuck in a mode that you don't even realize.
Yeah. You mentioned you were scared or fear. What's your relationship with fear now? Is this, I don't know, how do you think or do you approach fear?
Part of me wants to say there's not much that I'm afraid of now.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true. I want to say that.
That's a wise caveat though, like acknowledging that there are things out there that you haven't even thought of, that aren't on your radar, that might be fear inducing to you. I love that. Yeah. Keep going.
And there may actually be I may be ruled by far more fear than I realize as well. So I want to be at least open to that.
Sure.
But I also think with a little bit of age and a little bit of an attitude of, I don't really care. And yeah, no, that's not really important to me. And the way that I live my life, that I really now, I don't let a lot of things bother me. I really try to make sure that I don't let my energy go places that don't serve me well. There could be a potential problem that's coming up that I could be afraid of how it might turn out. I don't know if I'm not bright enough and I don't have enough cycles to think about. I just don't worry about what I don't have to worry about. And from a fear perspective, a lot of that I think has really dissipated for me. I think earlier on, the fear of, am I good enough? Am I whole imposter syndrome thing, right?
Yeah.
I joke all the time that if I've had any success, it's because I've figured out how to sound like I know what I'm talking about technology wise, right up to the point where I can bring someone who really knows what they're talking about. And that served me well. And I say that tongue in cheek, but it's also got a lot of truth to it, that again, I've been able to see the bigger picture to the point to where I know what I don't know and let somebody else step in who really does. But from a fear perspective today, I don't feel like at least it's controlling much of my life.
Okay. Glad to hear it. That resonates as truth with me, by the way, just for what it's worth. Like I can sense that. It sounds like you're comfortable with who you are. You know what's important to you. And I think with comfort, it sounds like maybe that's a little bit to the antidote of fear. So thanks.